heading over to make sure that we are, in fact, live on Facebook.
Should I put this on airplane mode?
No, you're all good.
Okay.
You are all good. Oh, and we are live on Facebook, and we are also live on YouTube. All right, here we go.
All right.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Zombiepalooza Radio Live, where we bring in powerhouses who are amazing creators. This is an actor who doesn't just show up on screen, he commands it. Standing 6'4", Vincent M. Ward has built a career on intensity, transformation, and range that most actors only dream of. From the stage to television, he has stepped into roles that push limits. Ruthless drug dealers, cold-hearted hustlers, men of faith, broken souls, even the devil himself. And every time he brings something real, something raw, something that sticks with you. You've seen him in The Walking Dead as Oscar, a character that fans still talk about to this day. Yes! You've seen him across powerhouse shows like The Wire, CSI Miami, and Desperate Housewives. And now he's stepping into a world of psychological horror with a new film that proves evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like family. The Stepdaddy is bringing that darkness to the forefront, and we're diving into it tonight. Vincent, welcome to Zombiepalooza Radio.
Hey.
And I got goosebumps. Oh my God, I got goosebumps.
So I was looking around like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, who is that guy? That's you. That's you, my friend. All right, so what first pulled you into acting and storytelling?
Well, into acting is getting fired from jobs. Got fired from a couple jobs when I saw my very first play, and I fell in love with it. I was working at General Motors, got hurt on the job, told me I couldn't come back, started working at Champ Sports, became the #1 salesman in the district in Dayton, Ohio. Said they want to train me as assistant manager, but I had to go to Columbus, Ohio. So I went to Columbus, became the #1 in the district there. One day the general manager came and said, how far you want to take it in the company? Take it to, in the company. I said, I'd like to have a position like yours one day. 2 weeks later, I was fired. 3 weeks later, I went and saw my very first play, and I fell in love with acting that day.
When did it go from passion to purpose?
When I moved to California, when I finally made that transition here to LA, I knew I had to take it serious. But just because we want something so bad, or we might have a passion for something, doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, because it doesn't. A lot of times, you can be tested and seeing if that's what you really and truly want to do. Because I mean, I get asked by parents all the time, how can I get my kids into acting? And the first thing I say is, you better make sure that's what they want to do, and not because that's what you want them to do, or because they're silly around the house or whatnot. So, yeah.
Talk about your early stage work. Men Cry 2, Through the Storm, and a whole list of others.
Yeah, I've probably been in over 100 plays ever since that one day when I went and saw that play at the Living the Dream Theater in Columbus, Ohio. It was about 20-seat theater. Afterwards, I went up to all the actors and actresses, and I was just high-fiving them because I had never seen a play. And at that time, I was probably 28, 29 years old. And they was like, man, you should come and audition. I was like, really? What's an audition? And I didn't even know what an audition was at that time.
Oh, wow.
And they were saying it's like an interview. So I went, auditioned for that play company, and that company would go to different colleges and stuff and do like 3 or 4 men plays. And from there, I just started getting better and better and better. I love theater. The last play I did was from the movie New Jack City. We ran for like 2 years, starring Alan Payne, who played G Money in the movie New Jack City. Trench from Naughty by Nature played Nino. I played Dutter Man, Big Daddy Kane. So I've definitely moved up to like being in sold out theaters with 5 and 6 thousand seat theaters. The play before that, I was with in a play called Redemption of a Dog with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, Tamar Braxton, Omar Gooding, Eric Benet, dynamic cast by the same guy, Jacarius Johnson. He's the guy who put on Redemption of the Dog and New Jack City.
You've got such a array of actors that have been in your field of sight, and that had to have had an impact on your acting as you moved forward. Whom do you feel you learned the most from, either from having a personal conversation or from watching how they act?
Oh, most definitely Terry Crews. I was Terry Crews's personal stand-in on Everybody Hates Chris for 4 years. I was probably the only stand-in that had a stand-in because I would go and do other stuff outside of Everybody Hates Chris. When I first started working on there, Terry was pretty much new on television. Um, I mean, he had been in some movies, but television, and that guy would be on time all the time. He would be professional. He would be appreciative of being the leader of Everybody Hates Chris. Him and Tashina Arnold as well. I was just with Tashina the other night, and people like that. People don't realize you only get one chance to really get a chance to shine like that on a
Right.
on a big show like Everybody Hates Chris. So you should come in and be professional, be on time, and have your lines together, and just be somebody that people will want to work with. Because if you're on set 10, 12 hours, we don't need you to be no buttholes on set. We need, I mean, because you already gonna be tired. We need people that's gonna be happy to be at work.
Attitude shapes your discipline, or discipline shapes your attitude, I should say, and
Mhm.
the emotional range that you have. In what way or when did you discover that theater was doing this for you, but not in the theater mode, in the outside personal mode?
I mean, it's a difference between the outside and theater because you got to most a lot of times people don't know how to turn it off. When it's cut, it's cut. You don't continue to just leave the set and you still acting like whatever character you're portraying. I understand. Some of the big time actors they stay in character the whole time, but it's like, geez. I mean, for instance, but this was kind of funny. I remember working on The Walking Dead, and it was Irony Singleton, T Dog's death dinner, and I was sitting next to Andrew Lincoln, and I had a glass of wine, and I probably took a couple of sips, and this guy speaking in this British accent, and I'm like.
Hmm.
I look at him, I look at my wine, I look back at him. I said, "Hey man," I said, "Why are you talking like that?" He was like, "You didn't know I was British?" I was like, "What?" I was like,
Oh,
"No, the whole
oh,
time
Rick!
you've
Oh,
been talking like
yes!
Rick."
Oh, yes!
and 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 he's definitely another person that I've learned from for the simple fact he was a true leader. He just wasn't the leader of the group. He was a leader of the show, and he looked out for people. And he was always pleasant. He always made you feel welcome. So him, Snoop too. Him, Snoop, Terry, and Tashina and Danny Trejo.
I about the first time he was interviewed. that I'd seen like a television interview about the show, I about fell out. I'm like, yeah, it was like you. I'm like, you what? How?
Yeah.
Huh? I love that. Love that. All
Yeah,
right,
but it's a
so
lot of British people on this show. You know, I
yeah,
remember back
I
in the day,
found
you used to hear that term, the British are coming, the British are coming. The British is here.
they they're not coming. They're here.
Yeah, they know how to
All
cover
right.
the accent.
I was shooketh. I bet you were shooketh too. I'm surprised you didn't do a. Did you do a spit take when you heard?
No, I
I
just
was
I just looked at him and looked at my wine like, did somebody put something in this? What? Why is he sounding like this? But I was amazed that he can still, you know, because the whole time at that time I've been working on there for 2 months, and he never broke character
like,
from his accent. And it caught me off guard.
love that for you. Love that for you. All right. So first major television role experience when they looked at you and said yes.
The movie Traffic with Michael Douglas was shot in Ohio. And right after it was shot, I told my parents, I'm moving to California. And it's like, you don't even know anybody there. I said, it doesn't matter. I ended up moving from Columbus back to Dayton and stayed with my parents to save my money to move it here to Cali. But the job that fired me was GM. But when it was time for me to come out here, GM had cut me a check for $10,000 telling me not to come back. So what we might think is a negative might be a positive to push you into what you really and truly should be doing. Because 3 years after that, everybody lost their job at GM because they closed down.
Yes, they did.
But my first big experience was Traffic. Me and my parents had told everybody that I was in there because my scene was with Michael Douglas. It took a year for it to come out. Finally when it came out, I went to the premiere. I'm here in California. And I'm sitting there and my heart is thumping out of my chest because it's when he's driving looking for his daughter in the hood, and my character's name was The Face. And I'm looking like, here we go. Because I jump out and I stop him and I'm in his face. We're having a conversation. And I'm sitting there and he drives right past me. I almost had a heart attack. I couldn't believe that they had cut my scene out. But they kept me in the credits as man on the street. And I'm just like, man, now, granted, I'm still new in this industry. So afterwards, I go to Steven Soderbergh, the director, and I'll say, hey, man, why you cut my part out? Just like that. And he looking around like, where's security at? This dude crazy.
Mm-mm.
And he was like, "Well, Vince, we went over budget. We had to pay Michael up front." And he said, "Man, I'm sorry." He said, "But that's just how it is." And I was just devastated because I just knew everybody was thinking I was lying or my parents were lying. And then he said, "Hey," because he saw I was hurt. I meant absolutely no disrespect, but I was hurt. And he
Right.
said, but I'm working on a new movie. And this when people used to write down numbers. He said, give my secretary a call. I'm working on a new movie called Ocean's 11.
Oh, yes.
So
I
every
did.
day on Ocean's 11, I played ball with George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Bernie Mac. But check this out. So here we are at the premiere. The scene takes place when George Clooney and God, I forgot the other guy's name. They go down the elevator shaft and he slide a gas pellet in and sees the two guards. So I'm one of the guards. I am Uzi, security guard carrying number 2, right? so, so I'm like, here we go again. Music is playing over top of my voice, over my lines. I'm like, he did it again. He freaking got me again. But I didn't say anything to him. So my third big movie was Queen Latifah, Steve Martin, called Bringing Down the House. Now I only had 3 words in this movie. By the time I was finished, I had 33 words because I started adding stuff.
Yes.
Oh, so I'm like, but then I'm sitting there like, all right, I'm talking to myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing too much. I'm doing too much, right? So now, we have filmed it in different directions, the POV, whatnot. So all of a sudden, I was like, all right, let me go back to like, how it's supposed to be. And I didn't know. Again, I'm still new, but once you said something, you got to say it over and over and over. So all of a sudden, I heard Adam Shankman, the director, say, "Cut, cut." Now Adam's very flamboyant and funny, right? So he comes over there. He says, "Excuse me, Mister Write Your Own Lines, man. We like the way that you wrote it. So could you do it that way again too, please?" And so he does a snap and he sashays away. He did one of these and sashayed away. And everything that I said, they kept.
I love that for you. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. You know what else I love for you? There's an individual in the room that is on Facebook right now. His name is Jeremy Ambler.
What's up, Jeremy Ambler?
Yeah, Jeremy says, "Hey bro, long time no see."
Man, really long time. I'm still trying to figure out who he is. I'm 55 now, Jerry. I got 14 grandkids.
Jeremy Ambler was one of the featured zombies in The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
I still love that for you. All right. And we love you, Jeremy Ambler. I hope to see you again sometime this year at a convention. We also have in the house Ash Hamilton, and love Ash too. All right. So, adjusting between different directors and production styles. Give us a little bit of an input about that, because you have had such an array of both.
Well, as long as you come in and you have your stuff together, they really don't get on your back. They don't really say anything to you. The one thing I do hate, and I wish actors would stop doing this, it's like they do the scene and then they ask the director, "Do you have any notes? Is that the way you want it?" If the director has some notes, guess what? He'll give you the notes. You don't need to get your ego stroked or anything like that. Just do what they ask you to do and keep it moving. I haven't had any problems with any directors really. I believe in being on time. I'd rather wait for them than them have to wait for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I learned that from General Motors, because General Motors taught me if you're not on time, you're gonna be fired. So I definitely
Yes.
took that away from GM, and I just try to be professional.
Let me ask you this. So, you're an actor. Surprise. How long does it take you to be able to get your part and then get it so that it's not sounding like a character, but it's sounding like a human, a regular human?
You gotta For me, I just practice. I just go over and over and over and over. Um, Even if I'm asleep and I mess up on my lines, I get up and look at the script. I never want to be that guy, because I've ran into some people. I know a guy that was on Everybody Hates Chris, but guess what? He was Chris Rock's good friend, and they would always call him in to do scenes, but he was always in the scene by himself. It was like him had to explain something. This, and this guy would mess up so bad. And I remember the guys behind the scenes is changing the lights and moving the cables. It got to the point every time he came, they would make bets on how many times he was going to mess up. I mean, it would get up to like 18 to 20, 25 times. And the more he messes up, the longer we have to be there. So I always keep him in mind. And I always tell myself, I would never be that guy. Mm-mm. No. I hate messing up, period.
Me
Because
too.
because it's like when you mess up on the line, people looking at you like, y'all hired this guy?
But we we all have our days where we just are like a few steps behind. And I mean, we might have not had enough sleep. We might have something going on in our personal life, all of that. So, how do you, as the kind of guy you are, how do you go into that and put your daily life to the side and just be that whatever human needs to be on the screen? How
That's
do you
it.
do that?
Again, because you only get one chance. You don't want to. Hey, they don't care if you ain't get. First of all, I never sleep the night before it's time for me to go to set. I'm always jumping up, looking at the clock because it'd be my luck. It'd be that one day the alarm clock doesn't go off and you super late and everybody's giving you the side eye. You have to. If you're on a show like Rick or Daryl, okay, you can mess up. Okay, you can come late. But if you guest star and co-star, you better get some doggone sleep. You better get some rest. You better get whatever you need to get. Be on that set on time and perform. Because I look at it like this. Your performance might bring an opportunity for them to bring you back. Your three
Yes.
days might turn into 13 days, 13,
Yes.
30. It's just like, again, my boy T Dog, Iron Singleton. He was only supposed to do what I believe was 3 episodes. He ended up doing 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in there and you have to have your stuff together. I mean, I remember one time I was on set and something happened with my son, but I still had to focus. Unfortunately, you have to put things to the side. And shout out to my man Eric Benet. Eric Benet is an R&B legend. He was in that play with Snoop Dogg, Redemption of a Dog. Now with this play, we had a show on Friday, 2 shows on Saturdays, and 2 shows on Sundays. Eric's mom died on that Friday before the show. So he's trying to figure out what we're gonna do. Without asking him, what is he gonna do? He came to us and said, "There's nothing I can do about my mom, you know, right now." He said, "But I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna do the shows, and then I just leave right after the show on Sunday." So if Eric Benet, which is an R&B legend, can do that, then anybody can do it if your car break down or your foot hurt.
And I know about that. All right, so you play a wide range of characters, everything from pastors to criminals. How do you step into character that live
uh,
on completely opposite ends of the moral spectrum?
well, I mean, honestly, playing the bad guy is funner than playing the good guy. Most of the time when you playing a good guy, speaking for myself, you actually playing yourself. So you're just being yourself. I love being the bad guy in theater because you get that connection. You have that connection with the audience, and you can hear the boos and the FUs and you hear all of that right then and there. When you're the bad guy on TV or movies, you don't get that same thing. Not
Mm-mm.
unless you go to the theater and you hear it and you be sitting there like, "Oh, they booing me. Oh, that's me, they booing me."
Yeah, I
but
love that.
but when you're in a theater, like when I did the play with Snoop, my character was like Suge Knight, but I was really the devil. And for me to show who I was at the end by setting the whole stage on fire with the lights and the smoke and all of that, it was awesome to catch 5, 6,000 people off guard like that. So just to hear that type of stuff, it makes you feel good. I remember doing a play in Columbus, and a buddy of mine, he came up to me. He said, "Hey man," he said, "Were you in the mall this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "Yo, it was you. She was right." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Man, my girl saw you And she said when she saw you, she automatically got scared and walked on the other side of the mall. I said, really? I said, tell her thank you.
Extra. That being able to have that kind of real like that right in front of you has
Yeah,
got to be a definite feather in the cap, because
yeah.
when they do that, you did
I,
the
I
thing.
remember I remember doing another play that I actually helped a couple out. And what I mean by that, in the play, I was very abusive towards my wife. I was pretty much a wife beater. Okay. And after the show, this couple came to me and they both said, we just know what the guy said. I just want to thank you. I was like, thank me for what? He said, because I was you this morning. I was like, oh my God. And he turned to his wife and he's like, baby, I'm sorry. This will never happen again. Watching his performance, it opened my eyes to how you really and truly felt about when I do those things to you. And they hugged and cried, and I almost cried. I was just like, oh my goodness. So you even playing a good guy sometimes can be something good and can help some people out when you least expect it.
Right. So let's
Uh-oh.
it's time to change. It's time to change course over here. And I gotta put you on the screen. Get you up in there. Like that. Look at
Hello,
that.
me.
Who's that guy? I
Hello.
love, of all the photos I was able to capture, I love that the best.
I did
I
that for a magazine cover.
yes, and I saw that too, and I was like, damn straight, I love that. I have when I get to do in person interviews at some of the conventions I go to, I have
Mhm.
to often think about ways where I want them to express themselves in the photograph. Just stand still. That's kind of boring. Give me something that's in your brain.
Right.
And I get that. I know the whole, oh, they do like the funny poses and all of that. But this, I love. I love this because it shows determination. It shows
Mhm.
you've got an idea. There's something that I saw and I know, and you actually are looking like you're doing a frame out for real. So, what was going through your mind when you had that photo taken?
He was just like you. He said, "Give me a pose that I'm not used to seeing." And he had the camera, and I just, I thought about the whole, type thing where he's like, yeah, with the, I forgot what it's called, the camera lens or whatnot. So
Right.
that's what I thought about when I did that.
Do you often look at the world like that? Do you think that you look at the world in a like a director's mindset or a creative mindset?
No, I just look at the world like I'm just trying to make some positive things happen in my life, not just for myself, but for my family. And, like I said, I have 14 grandkids and, my wife and these two furry dogs down here. So it's just every day my mind is just going and going. I love playing Oscar, but my goal is to win an Oscar someday. And I know everybody doesn't say this, but I believe in God, and I have faith that someday that I'm gonna be put in that position. And I want to be a guest star, not a guest star, a series regular on somebody's show from season 1 to season 21. I just don't want to be on there for a couple episodes and get killed off or whatnot. And that's why I actually started creating my own stuff. That's where Devereaux came from. That's where the stepdaddy came from because I got tired of getting killed off. So I'm like, let me kill some people. I ain't gonna kill my own self off. So yeah.
Right.
Hey, hello guys.
check you out. All of these. I love it when I can get a montage of different characters and different things that happen within the creative wheelhouse. So let's give a little bit of conversation to some of the things we have on the screen.
Okay. I can tell you right now, the guy at the bottom in the corner that looks kind of evil, devilish, that never came out. A friend of mine asked me to put the mask on and they wanted to shoot some stuff. So I obliged and I put that mask on. I don't even know what that character's name is. Yeah. But the other ones, the one in the middle, that's me from Death House. Now, it's crazy with Death House. I don't even know how I got on Death. I know how I got on Death House. It's shout out to Felissa Robes. That's how I got on Death House. But the reason why I say I don't know how is because it was so many legendary horror icons in that movie.
Yes.
I mean, good God, any horror person you can think of was in that movie, and me. So so that one and the other one with the suit on at the bottom, of course, that's the stepdaddy from when I first started with the ideal um, of creating that. I forgot about that picture. I had to start posting that too. And of course, up there in the first one is Devereaux. Devereaux is like a new age candy man, in which Tony Todd, sorry about the dog, which Tony Todd ended up playing my dad. May he rest in peace. And of course, the one in the middle, that's the stepdaddy that comes out April 28th, that we shot in 2020. Freaking 2020. I woke up last Monday on every horror blog, and I'm like, what was, because I got the Google alert thing.
Right.
And I'm like, why am I everywhere?
You are.
And that's when it said,
I went to go search. I went to go search all of that, and I was like, "Holy crap! Okay, all right, you are literally everywhere."
And nobody told me.
What?
That's the crazy thing about it. I didn't know the movie was coming out on the 28th. I thought it was just scrapped. And then I'm like, Lionsgate, what the hell?
You got a repeat pattern of people not telling you stuff.
Not telling me jack.
Not telling you nothing.
Yeah, and then of course the last one is, the infamous Oscar from The Walking Dead.
That guy right there. Let's see what we got here. Yep, that'd be you.
Yeah, I love that's one of my favorite pictures right there.
I like
But
that too.
I knew I was gonna die when I left the prison. I remember telling Lou Temple, he played Axel. I said, "Hey man, they got me leaving. I don't think I'm coming back." He's like, "What? What did you hear?" I said, "I didn't hear nothing, but I have a feeling I'm not coming back."
Oh no! So landing the role of Oscar on The Walking Dead, how did you find out? I mean, they had to have told you, right? So how did they tell you?
Of course, I auditioned. I auditioned with my girl Taylor Lloyd, and again, I didn't know what the show was. I didn't know what it was about or anything. I was just told it was about a group of people and zombies and trying to the apocalypse, and I'm like, what? Who watching that crap? I don't even sound interested. 25 million a week watching it, but I didn't know.
Hell yeah! You don't know till you don't know.
I had absolutely no clue. I didn't know anything about no comic books, no Robert Kirkland. I didn't know nothing. And then they was, I would get asked, well, how was it working with the people on the show? Were you excited? I'm like, I didn't even know any of them. I was like, it was just actors.
Bill, so building a character in a survival-based world, and you're a talker. So you have got words, you got lines to remember, you got to, show up, do the thing, all of that. What was that like for you going from, I'm assuming from stage to a regular television show.
I mean, I've been around. I've been
A little
around. So
bit.
yeah, so it was just me going to the set. I didn't know it was going to be that hot in Sonoya, Georgia. I did not know that. So that sweat that you see is real sweat. It was either or when we were inside the prison, which was it wasn't real, but they did an awesome job making it look real. They would spray this black stuff in there that would choke you to death, but you was in the air conditioning. So you either be outside in the heat or you be inside choking to death in the air conditioning. So, and it was, and I like even for this picture right here, I remember telling them, I was like, y'all got me out here, but you didn't even give me no weapons. I'm just running. And they was like, oh, we didn't even think about that.
What?
Then they gave me too many. I could barely run with all that
As I
stuff.
remember, from what I remember, that was a lot.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I said, this is too much. I can't run with all this stuff, man. I don't care how big y'all think I am. I can't carry all of this stuff and run and fight and all this other stuff. They're like, yeah, you do have a point. I'm like,
Y'all doing too much here. You're doing too much. So, do you think survival stories like this hit people because they strip humanity down to its core, or is there some other reason?
I think we all survive every day in this world. Even if it's just driving down the street. Hopefully you make it back home. That's one thing that me and my wife do is it's like, I don't care how mad we might be at each other. We can't leave the house without at least kissing each other. If
Yes.
just a little peck and keep it moving. Because I mean, think about it. I think most people die close to their homes. It may be because they was trying too fast to get home. I've gotten to the age where I don't even like driving on Friday and Saturday nights because so many people drinking and driving or can't drive at all. So to me, every day is survival. Mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. Every day is a survival. And I think, even like being an actor, one of the hardest things is the mental part. The mental part is tough because we audition, we learn lines, and we try to do the best job you can, and you still don't get the part, or you be put on a veil. If people don't know what a veil is, that's like they check your availability. They want to hold you because they might hire you. It's up to you and maybe 2 or 3 other people. But then you're on a veil for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they're like, then your agent called like, all right, they took you off the veil. That's mentally like, sheesh. Sometimes people counting that money. I'm like, D 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then it's like nothing. So that's
I have
tough.
I have a lot of I had the fortunate ability to be able to talk to a lot of people that have been on that particular show, and the range of everything that you have just spoken about, all going down the line of just trying to be able to make sure that you're on point, make sure
Mhm.
that you have availability, and then it's to hurry up and wait. Like a
Yeah,
lot of times when you're in the middle of a field that goes on forever and you are there for 13, 14 hours or more.
yeah. And just being able to survive and live, as a human. It's funny because sometimes I see people out and they might know me from The Walking Dead. They might know me from Family Business or what other? I'm on like 3 shows right now: Family Business, The Black Hamptons, and House of Vicious. I saw this lady at Walmart the other day, and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing in here? What am I? What am I doing in here?"
Harpooning guppies. What do you think I'm doing here?
or if you're not, or if you don't fly first class, people like, why are you sitting back here with us? What? Uh,
Right?
I'm not Denzel Washington yet. You know, I'm not
I'm
Will
working
Smith
on it.
yet.
You're working on it though. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy because people think just because they see you on TV that you have no problems or you ain't going through anything or they automatically assume you're rich or it's just like, man, look here. I'm looking for the next gig.
Yes. And you're a human above everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I love about bringing guests on who have large Google footprints is how they react with me in the very beginning. And I could see that you were real, and you're just a regular guy. And I love that. It also helps when you're going to look for other work.
Yeah.
You're
It just
easygoing, you're smart, and you can do the job.
yeah, one thing your character is in my character is important. It's just like a friend of mine. She was working on a set maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she said one of the actors came up to her because she was in wardrobe. They met the first day. The second day, he came up to her and was like, "So, I see you be working with Vincent M. Ward all the time." And she was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Mm." And she said, "What do you mean, mm?" She's like, "Yeah, I heard that guy is difficult on set." And she was like, "If you're talking about people being on time, having their stuff together, having their lines together, then yeah, he is difficult. Besides that, he ain't difficult." And she told me who he was, and I looked him up, and I'm like, I had auditioned against this guy before. But for him to go out and try to spread a lie on me, when I see him, we got to have a conversation. Because you don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't be
Right.
trying to tarnish my name because somebody might have said something. Yeah, I
And
might have said something to somebody because they didn't have their freaking lines memorized or they wasting everybody's time. Yeah, I'll be that guy. I would definitely be that guy and be like, why aren't you prepared?
right.
Somebody has to say something.
Right. I had written a post, as a matter of fact, the other day about that very thing. When people start to talk a certain way about you or another person and they're talking about how difficult they are, blah, 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 what they're really doing is telling on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
This is how they are expressing themselves, and you might want to think about going like the other way if you can. So we
Oh,
got a
well, I can do it in a way that I'm gonna let him know that ain't cool.
right,
I'm not talking about going out there and scrapping. I'm
right,
talking about going out there and tell him, what if somebody said that about you?
right.
And it's not true, you
So we
know?
have we have a graphic up on the screen. You want to give us a little bit about what you did there?
I played doctor on there. We actually shot it right outside my hometown. The Demons Within. It definitely wasn't about me. I was in there about 3, 4 minutes, but they actually made that. They made that for me, and I really appreciated that.
Eh,
That was a cool flyer. But I just played a doctor who was trying to talk to this girl who was she was like the exorcist type thing, and
mhm.
she ended up killing me real quick.
And you showed up, but you showed up. Did you know that was going to happen, or did
Yeah,
you
I
find
knew it
out
was
the
gonna
hard
happen.
way?
I knew it was gonna happen. I knew I wasn't gonna be there long. But the most important thing for me was I would get to go home and see my parents and my family. So, they was like, well, we can do this, this, this. I was like, okay, I'm there.
and,
So
and
sometimes it's not about the money, it's about the opportunity to be able to spend more time with your family or see your family.
this one's not coming out as well as what I would like, but is that Papa Legba?
No, that is Devereaux.
Um,
Everybody asked me about that.
I'm
I didn't even
excited.
know who Papa Lego was. All I knew is I like the look. I went and bought.
It's
I had never
incredible.
I had never even seen Papa, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
I went to the store and I bought all that stuff that you see.
And I am going to put up a better picture of this up on my Facebook page. It is, you got to see it in full color without it being as dark as that is. But all right, we're going to go and we're going to transition again
Okay.
over. Oh, not that way. Oh, you know what? I got. I go back to where I was.
All
What?
right.
I don't know what I'm doing. It's my first time.
But you knew a guy.
I bet I did know a guy. I know a lot of guys. All right, now we gotta try and get over here and get all of this moving out
Oh.
of the way, and just because this is kind of important, I want to wait a minute. What did I do? I am so excited about everything. Like I told you, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Me
I
neither. I'm
want
just
to be
making
able,
up stuff as we go.
right? Yeah, I think that's highlighted. Here we go. I think, yep, that's what we're doing here. All right. So I found out something pretty cool, that this thing here was a book before it was anything else.
Yeah.
And so I want to do this in kind of like some sections here, so that you get to express whatever you would like to, and all of that. So there's a good number of photos that we're going to hit. And you got show and tell. Let me see that book. I know you do. We have Cam Calloway in the room, and I know Cam Calloway knows who. Yeah, Cam Calloway knows who Papa Legba is. And we have Justin Haynes in the room. Hey, shout
What
out
up?
to
What up?
Justin
What up?
Haynes. Halfway to Halloween, coming up May 1st and 2nd. Yeah, get there if you can.
Yeah, I actually just hit them up not too long ago.
So let's talk about this work, and let me see if I can get there it is. Is that it? That's it.
That's it.
Let's talk about this, because a few days ago I asked you if you had written a book yet. But my idea was for you, because you have such an interesting backstory. I would love to see a book from like how you started as like when you were little and inspired by theater, and move it up until I don't know, past some of the other highlights that you've done with your television and your film career. I would like to see that, or maybe a book on acting. I don't know, something.
Mm.
And then I saw this as I was scrolling through the photos, and I'm like, I knew that man could write. I did not know that this was a book first before anything else. So please, let's talk about the book.
So I used to like the movie The Stepfather. Stepfather was an old school horror classic. It got up to Stepfather 3. So for me, I'm like, well, let me tell my version of being a stepfather. And I just called it the stepdaddy. So what happened was I had written the script for the movie, but they was like that budget would be too high because I had him going to an island and all types of stuff. And so they was like, let's water it down, bring it down a little bit. And I hooked up with this girl named Drika Armstrong. And so we made the script smaller and we made it more affordable. But then I'm thinking like, well, what about all this stuff I wrote? And then ding, it popped in my head. I'm gonna make a book and I'm gonna call it the Stepdaddy Volume 1. So this is how it started off, like this. That's actually my wife, my daughter, and my nephew. But when I hooked up with Halo Publishing, it ended up looking like what's on the screen. So that's how it came about of me turning the movie script that would have cost a lot of money into the book. So I've actually started writing volume 2 now, but this is gonna sound strange. Even though I've written some stuff, I don't really consider myself a writer for the simple fact writers really, they can pinpoint this. I consider myself as an actor who has ideals that people seem to like. And
I
every
like
time I
that.
write something, I'm writing it as I'm that character. So a lot of times, if I'm writing a movie script, I'm writing it as every character. I'm talking as every character or speaking as every character.
That room in your head can get awful crowded sometimes. Does it ever shut down? Do you have to go and tell the grind to quiet itself, or do you like that being in that constant?
No, I don't like being in that constant. But sometimes you just get to the point where you just, all right, I gotta go to sleep. I'm tired. So you gotta turn it off. But a lot of times I do my best writing when I'm sleeping because I can visualize everything. I can hear the voices, the characters in my head. And it's like while I'm asleep, it's like I'm watching it. So by the time I get up, I can just try to remember what I what I watched in my sleep. Hey,
Exploring the monster hiding in plain sight. Talk a little bit about that.
huh?
For that psychological part of the work that you have here.
Yeah, everybody's not who they seem to be. The guys that look so innocent and wear the glasses and the smile sometimes can be the most evil people. Vice
Mm.
versa for women too. I don't care. I
Yes.
don't care how you grew up or you was in church or what. Sometimes those type of people be having like some real demons, and you just be like, "Wow!" What's the first thing people say? I can't believe that. I can't believe he did something like that. But believe it. I remember growing up, and I was pretty popular because I played basketball and I used to dance in a rap group and all types of stuff. And I remember, my first time on TV was on a show called The Jenny Jones Show.
Oh
And,
Lord.
yeah, and it was about me being a player. It wasn't anything of acting. It was about me being this playboy type guy. And I remember I used to hang out with these other guys, and people would look at me and be thinking like I'm the dog dude. I'm the one that's gonna hurt the feelings. But it'd be the guy over there that you wouldn't think was the dog guy was doing all the doggish stuff. So I had a conscience. Some people don't have a conscience, and the stepdaddy definitely does not have. Well, the stepdaddy he wants love. It's all about him having a family and trying to be that father for the kids. But soon as something goes wrong or somebody says something that he doesn't like or hurts his feelings, then he feels like he has to get rid of them and start over. So it's all about pleasing him because he has all these different personalities. And when they always say love ain't supposed to hurt, well, unfortunately, love does hurt in the stepdaddy, and it can be deadly.
How about balancing charm versus
You
balance?
you you went out
I
for a
did.
second.
I did. Okay, we here. We here. We back.
Yeah.
I hope so. All right. Working with director Thomas J. Churchill. Talk a little bit about that.
I don't want to talk about that.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Okay,
that chapter's
that's
closed
cool.
in my that chapter's closed in my
I
life. That's
didn't
just
know. I didn't
yeah.
know.
I wish him well.
Why though does this story do you think hit differently today?
What you say? What this story? The
Yeah.
stepdad?
Yes.
I think it's. I don't think it hits different. I think it's some people out there. It's some stepdaddies. It's some stepmamas out there they just cover it up. They keep it hush hush. I mean, think about it. If it wasn't for the internet or social media, it's a lot of things in the world we wouldn't even know what was going on. But
That's
now
true.
people post everything, you know, so you can turn your TV on, you can turn on social media, you turn on the internet, and you will see some real killers out here in this world, unfortunately. I mean, I just saw this guy, he killed 8 of his own kids and
Yeah,
the mother. And it's just like, wow. I mean, why? Why you do that to the kids? One of them was only like 15 months.
I know.
You know, so it's a lot of evil in this world because a lot of people want to be something that they aren't. You know, they want to be that popular person. They want to go viral. They want to do this, or they're not happy with their lives. Or, you know, I think one of the things that makes me well, it used to make me upset is like when I go home to my hometown and I've been talking to some friends that, you know, off and on, texting each other or inboxing each other, but like, hey man, we linking up when I get home. And then when I get there, I don't hear from them. And I'm like, it had to get to a point. I'm like, look here, I'm talking to myself. Look here, man, don't worry about that. You
Right.
know, there for some reason they think that I've changed, or you know, they can't deal with my career, but my career doesn't. I'm still Vincent M. Ward from Trotwood, from Dayton, Ohio, Eddie and
I
Virginia
love that.
Ward's son. You know, I don't care what I've been on. I never change or make this industry make you know make me out to be a butthole or egotistic or bragging and boasting. I can never do that because I can't stand people that's like that. Though, but people have to be happy with their own lives.
Yes. All right. So I'm going to go and uh, bring up, hopefully, I got it. Let's see if I can add this in there. Mm, I gotta see what I'm doing here. Here it is. I'm gonna add it in through this way. And we're gonna go.
And I don't know who that guy is.
Hang on for a hot minute. Let me see if I can.
Uh-oh, trailer.
What's this?
Rochelle, maybe when I moved to this town, I was looking for a new life. And instead I found something that I didn't know that I was even missing. Will you make me the happiest man in the world?
Yes!
Yes!
Mama, what is your issue with Patrick?
Rest
My
in
kid
peace
thinking
to her.
is super cool. I mean, you haven't given him a chance since you met him.
What do we really know about this man? There is something not quite right about you. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna find out before you hurt my daughter.
I want you bad.
Patrick, what happened?
People that start messing around in other people's business, they get hurt. So I advise you to stay out of my way.
Reynolds, I thought you locked up.
Batter up, bitch.
Patrick was in my room staring at me.
I know him. That's my girlfriend's stepdad.
What's your problem, old man?
What did you do to Tyrone?
Daddy got your back, princess.
You killed my niece! We're finally gonna be a real family, officially. Isn't that great?
If I can't have you, then nobody can.
We're family.
Isn't it family that usually stabs you in the back?
Yeah.
Oh my. And yes, absolutely. Almost every time You
Rest in peace to her too. The mother, Aretha Gray. She passed away a couple years ago. So rest in peace
that
to her.
had to be that had to be incredibly exhilarating and draining all at the same time for you.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. But I will say this too, going back to that video and those blogs. I was so excited when I saw those. It was very humbling. I felt like the same. I felt the same as I felt when I saw Devereaux, even though I knew Devereaux was coming out. For this to be my second go round with Lionsgate, I think the sky is the limit. I'm definitely
Yes.
gonna do things differently when it comes to the business side more on the next go round.
Let's see here. You
So
played.
I know when the movie comes out.
Yeah, let me know. At least I would love it if they would put it like a billboard, like right in your local hometown, and
Oh,
like one of those ones that has the digital on it, and just leave it there so that you can see it when you're at a stoplight.
it's funny that you said that because I talked to my friend Deanna the other day. She has this new show called Billboard Wars or something like that.
Oh, I like
And
that.
yeah,
I've heard of that.
she used to be on
Yes,
Storage Wars. And we talked about that a couple days ago.
do
So
it,
yeah,
do
so we'll
it.
see.
You've played men of faith and men capable of real darkness. When the camera cuts, which one do you, which one stays longer with you?
Oh man, definitely not the evil ones, the faith ones. I like being happy. I don't like being mad or upset and stuff for a long time. I don't. I'm 55 years old. When I turned, true story, I remember I came out here when I was 30. I remember when I turned 40, I cried like a big baby, like my life was over. When I turned 50, I'm more at peace. I'm more I'm more grateful, I'm more humble than ever. Cause I made the joke when I turned 50, I'm like, man, I'm half of 100. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be around here. So I don't, if I go, I want to go happy. I want peace. I want to go up there and God be like, hey, come on in here, man. That's what I want. I don't want to be like, get out of here, stepdaddy. Get out of here, devil roll.
So, which leads me up to a great segue of this next question. If somebody watches your work and only sees the characters, what do you hope they understand about the man behind them?
Look, first of all, I'm just acting. You have to. You can never assume. You can't assume that somebody's going to be some kind of way off of, especially off of their job. You can't even assume some people's going to be a certain kind of way off of social media
Sure,
because people don't post the bad stuff; they only post the good stuff. The good times, the fun times, the happy times. They don't post this. This is probably how they really are. I know some people that
put that book back up there. Put that book back up there.
I know
Look at
some
that. I love that.
I
Yes,
know I know some
yes.
people that's just I've worked with, and just because they didn't do it to me on set, but I seen a different side of them on set, and I'm like, who
Mm-hmm.
the heck are you? Why are you acting like that?
Right.
So I remember working with this one guy, and the first AD knew we worked together a lot, and he pulled me to the side and he was like, "Hey man, what's going on with your boy?" I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I would have never thought he was such a butthole," and I was
Mm,
just like,
mm.
He can be. But yeah, people think that people just gonna come like, oh hey, no, sometimes that real person comes out of them. And
Yes.
I'm not saying you go and kiss people's butt and all that other stuff, but you just be professional. You be a decent human. Don't nobody want that headache.
No, you gotta just be real. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna go to 1 or 2 word answers only.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Stage or screen?
Scream.
Hero or villain?
Villain.
Faith or fear?
Faith.
Instinct or preparation?
Preparation.
Power or control?
Control.
Fame or respect?
Respect.
Chaos or calm?
You say chaos?
Chaos or calm?
Calm.
Truth or performance?
Truth.
Survival or sacrifice?
Survival.
Dark roles or light roles?
Light.
Lead or ensemble?
Lead.
Script or improv? Hmm.
I'm gonna say script.
Fear or adrenaline?
Adrenaline.
Trust or instinct?
Trust.
Past or future? Legacy or impact?
Legacy.
Monster or man?
Man.
Control or surrender?
Control.
Hollywood or indie?
Hollywood.
1 word to describe your journey so far.
Survival.
1 word for The Walking Dead.
Legendary.
1 word for The Stepdaddy.
Next.
And 1 word for Vincent M. Ward.
Grateful.
I got chills, and I love doing interviews, but I rarely get chills. But my whole being right now, every hair on my body is bing, 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 bing. Because, and I also find too, I know that at some point you've had to have that feeling as well. When you get your most authentic self, when you hear your most authentic tone, when you are saying and speaking your most authentic words, you get that feeling, that you are in that drive. And I felt all of that.
I appreciate it. I love the questions. This is the first time somebody asked me stuff like that. And I've done a lot of interviews or had a lot of conversations, and I respect that you've done your homework on me. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to ask what you thought about your first experience on Zombiepalooza Radio Live.
Very professional, very on. I already told you I love the flyer that you put up. I was like, wow, that's awesome. And I like this format as well. So thank you for being professional and the great questions and working with me when this thing wasn't when my computer was humming.
Oh yeah, there's people. I would love every once in a while just to get some spots of the stuff that happens before show. And let me tell you, there've been some things, and sometimes technology doesn't want to work, and sometimes it just is masterful what we can do with technology. So I know I've covered a lot of ground in your interview. Is there anything that is either work related or personal related that you would like people to know about you that I haven't asked?
No, I would just say April 28th. Give the stepdaddy a chance. Give me a chance. I know we
Where's it going to
love
be playing? Where's it going to be playing at? Give me a shout out for that.
video on demand. So wherever you can rent movies or whatnot, just give me an opportunity like you give Jason and Michael and Freddie and Candyman. I definitely, even with Devereaux, definitely want to be the new face of horror or one of the new faces of horror. And for this one, for the stepdaddy, th- this face, everything that look good to you ain't good for you.
But boy, is that true. Is there any shout outs that you would like to give? Anybody that, like, any mentors or anybody out there, either helping you with like social media or anything you got?
Thank you to all the horror blogs that hit me up or did a write up. Thank you to all the podcasts that's been hitting me up. Thank you to my furry babies over here, Marley and Macy, for being quiet. They might have barked one time, but I gotta definitely give them a treat for being good. They looked at me like, what? Treat? For being good girls. And my wife just came in from work, and congratulations to her for being Teacher of the Year to Takoi Award. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And one more, my mom and dad. My dad had to go to the emergency room Monday or Sunday, and he came out yesterday. And my mom was like, because he'd been having a few health problems, and my mom said they couldn't find anything wrong with him. And I was like, well, maybe he's a zombie. And that was a true story.
Oh. Is that rubbing?
So yeah, shout out to that's anybody that's been supporting. Shout out to Felissa Rose too for reposting because she's in the movie too.
I saw
The
that.
cast and crew, yeah.
I saw that. I love that. All right, so I want to give a shout out to Ben Harrell. He and I are going to be seeing each other on May 2nd. We're going to be doing an interview. I'm going to have the camera in my face, and they're coming out from a good distance to be able to do that, and I appreciate all of that.
Nice.
I appreciate all of the guests. Thank you, Vincent, for saying yes. I appreciate that 100%. And thank you to Jamie Hill. Woo woo. We got Cam Calloway. We got who else we got in here? I know we got other people in here. Scott. I'm not going to say your last name because I will hit that wrong. But he says working in Haunt, you learn to step into the character you're portraying. When I would step from my car, I was a ghoul. And till I was done, and then back in my car. Some people they do that method acting, and I've been on. I've had the fortunateness of being on different haunts and watching the evolvement of characters. And some people, they don't do it until like the red light hits them and you're go, or the green light, whatever. Mm-hmm. And other people are like, as soon as they step on the ground, that is them if you speak to them, they'll answer you like that. And then we have, of course, Jeremy Ambler. Thank you so much for joining us. Anything else you want to add before I hit that button?
Go LeBron James. Go Lakers.
Yes, and Cleveland, Ohio 216. Shout out for you guys too. Thank you so much.
I'm from Ohio.
I know.
Go Cavaliers.
Yeah, go Cavs. All right, I will talk to you later. Actually, I'll talk to you right after I hit this end button. I'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching Zombiepalooza Radio Live. Well, and my lovely green screen. I know, I'm just fading. I'm fading.